I was thinking for about like 2 minutes before starting this recording on whether I should do this in Indonesian or in English, but right now it's almost 1 a.m. and I'm always more articulate in English because like there's this really very funny fact, but I think it's really true, that if you read so much about a certain topic in a language that isn't your native language or any language that you're comfortable with, you're gonna be more articulate and will be way better and more well versed and can express your thoughts better in the language that you are more familiar with, or in a language that you use to learn that particular topic. So, for example, if you really like chemistry, you would find it a problem to talk about chemistry. Let's say you learn chemistry in English, it would be a problem if you talk about it in Japanese. If you're not familiar or you don't read as much in Japanese around the topic of chemistry, even if Japanese is your second native language, I suppose. Like, let's say your mother is Japanese but your father is American, and you have lived in Japan almost your whole life, but you always, like, every year go to America. That means you have a really high grasp of both languages, but you still can't talk about it. You know what I mean? So I've decided to do it in English because, no one's gonna watch this video anyway. I hope that would change in the future, but for now, not only that I want to enforce the habit of uploading, but also I don't want to spend the extra mental effort to write a script or to speak in Indonesian, which I could, in theory. I just don't like it. In terms of like my brain is not used to speak, whatever. So I'm gonna talk about soft power, and as you can tell from the future, because I decided to probably name this video something along the lines of culture and the fact that Indonesia doesn't have its own culture. We do, but you know what I mean? Like, a couple of days ago, it was actually yesterday probably, I forgot. There's this new meal, a variant of a meal from McDonald's called BTS meal. And it's just unbelievable. It's just, holy shoot. Like, unbelievable. And the reason why this is unbelievable is that, first of all, I've never seen this type of marketing before. The furthest I've seen is that if you know KFC in Indonesia, if there is a group, like a musical band or an artist that release a new song or a new movie, KFC usually has a collaboration, and they would release their songs and you could get free CD form of their music. I know, right? Who used CD in 2020? But back then it was popular. I don't know if it still exists until today, but it used to be back then. You can get that music for free if you bought a specific amount of food in KFC. That's like the furthest I've seen any collaboration with like music into food. That's about it. And I think I've never seen such a hype in my country, at least, not in like America or any other country. And this is the first time I've like see it. I've saw it firsthand, and in my like living memory, and from something that I'm pretty familiar. If you haven't noticed it already, I also listen to K-pop, but I have never like really watched the boy band. I only watched the girl group, and even the girl group, I only watched one group called Luna. Not that it matters, I'm just explaining. And seeing this phenomenon, I'm like, okay, so I need to explain really quickly, like less than a minute. So the reason why I'm learning Korean and why I am like watching K-pop is obviously because they're pretty and they're cute and the songs are really catchy because they're designed to be catchy. The whole industry is designed for profit. And because I'm a history nerd, and now I'm not saying like that's amazing, but because I read a lot of history and other stuff that I politics and geopolitics and all that stuff, I noticed that South Korea didn't become I can't speak a developed country in the last, I don't know, 5 decades. No, they did it just like, I believe 1995 or 2000, and that's very, very early. Like very, very early. I mean, China is still not a developed country by any standard, and they have been pumping out their economy since 1978. So it's amazing that they did it, and the K-pop industry, the music industry, and the entertainment industry of South Korea doesn't exist until after the IMF bailout, because the government was trying to find a new source of, I suppose, growth in the economy and income. I mean, there is a dedicated section in the Ministry of Culture and Education, or just Culture, I believe, that is specifically only for K-pop. So they literally rig the whole system just to create a very, very popular and very successful, clearly, industry. And this is something called soft power, and it really bothers me that as an Indonesian, we don't have it. So there's this really good book that I actually just found this too. I just read this too. This is probably not my first time reading the article, but I don't remember seeing this. And I just downloaded the book. I'm gonna read the book in the next few weeks, probably, if I'm clear. I'm still reading a book right now called Dracula, and World War Z as a novel, and the novel is actually way better than the movie. And the movie, now that I think about it, has zero relation whatsoever with the novel. So anyway, so you can read it yourself. Maybe you can read the updated version, because usually Wikipedia articles are updated quite frequently. We don't have it. And I have this friend, I suppose you could call it friend, on Discord. We were talking about like K-pop and all that stuff, like how big K-pop is, right? And she said that Southeast Asians are the cultureless Asian, because we don't have something that, I'm not saying we don't have a culture, that's stupid, obviously. Most civilization and country and tribes and ethnicity has a culture, obviously. I think all of them has. Even American, obviously, because American is a melting pot and all that stuff. But like just white people from Britain, I suppose, back in 1700, they probably still have a culture. I mean, I believe Thanksgiving is invented in America. Something like that. I don't know. So obviously they have. And obviously Indonesia has, because Indonesia has hundreds of ethnicity. We have like 17,000 islands at least. So we have a lot. But the reason why I agree, but at the same time I don't agree, obviously, because I'm Indonesian, I'm biased towards disagreeing with that, which is that it's true that we don't have a culture in terms of the consumption, like domestic consumption of culture, and most notably in music, is partly Indonesian. Like if you look at the is this fair to do this? It's probably not fair. There has to be at least one K-pop. Oh, there you go. Rose on the ground. And okay, I expect BTS Butter. It just came out, right, like a couple of days ago. But basically, usually this is weird. The top 10 only has one song. Usually it's like 2 at least. And yeah, so the domestic consumption of Indonesian own music that are related to culture. I mean, like of course you can say that. I mean, this is all Indonesian song. I would agree with you, but I'm talking about like, assuming, let's say you're Japanese. That's the best example, because I'm Japanese, that I can relate to. How many Japanese kid my age? I'm 17 right now, and or at least somewhere around my age, which is anyone that is born after 1990, would still belong to me, technically, to some degree. How many of them on a, let's not say daily, let's say weekly, even monthly would still be acceptable. How many of them watch Shadow Puppet, Wayang? Because there's a lot of them on YouTube. There are a fucking ton of Wayang on YouTube. It's a stream version. It's like 3 hours probably. Or just some regular, if you talk about like Japanese songs, there are a lot of them. I enjoy some of them too, but that's not like Japanese culture, you know what I mean? So Indonesia does not have a culture in that particular part. And not only that particular part, the domestic consumption of culture. And that's Japanese. You're still somewhat forgiven because we're like the largest, I believe we're the largest ethnicity, and we're the one who rule the government to some degree. It's always the Japanese, and Java is still the most important island of Indonesia. The seat of the government isn't here, and the capital isn't here, and most of our country's GDP isn't here. So, and more than half of Indonesian population lives in here. So that makes sense. But if let's say you're someone that was born from, I don't know, Gorontalo. If you're from Gorontalo, I don't think you have I don't know, obviously, but I would guess you don't have at least the same quantity of modern local music. Like, we have so many. We have Denny Chatnan. We have, there's this really, really catchy songs from Ende Ik Aka, if you know. I'm from Yogyakarta, so like those things were my go-to songs when I was in like 5th grade. So, and it still leaves a lot of memory for me. And I don't think that exists in other parts of Indonesia, especially outside Java. Clearly it doesn't exist in like, I don't know, Merauke. So it's just sad that we don't have a culture. We don't have a soft power. And other than that, is also the fact that if you look beyond the music industry, if you look at movies, if you look at dramas, maybe not dramas, that's a little too high for Indonesia. Soap opera, sinetron. I'm pretty sure sinetron is called soap opera. We don't have that. I'm sorry, we we don't have drama, but we have soap opera. Or if we do, the quality is horrendous. Like, I can guarantee Indian dramas would still be better than Indonesian soap opera. To some degree, I guess. I don't know. There's this meme, if you don't know it already, about Indian dramas, I suppose, where they have so much like effects. It's so funny. So yeah, I don't know if other countries has it too. I don't even know the actual definition, or like whether something would be categorized as soap opera. But my point is that basically it gets worse once you go outside the music industry. The art, the books, novels, web novels, comics, printed or online comics, the consumption of books in Indonesia. That makes sense because we don't have a lot of people that can buy books or would be interested in books just based on the socioeconomic background. I have this really, really not so profound theory, and obviously I've already thought about it before, which is that in rich countries, you can bet there are more people who love to read books. Any books. It doesn't have to be a novel or some technical books regarding computer science, but just reading. Like, people read newspaper, or people read, I don't know, cooking instructions. Like, there has to be more people who do that than countries that are not as developed as those developed countries. And I think that's partly why. So it's just really sad when you look at it. Like, Indonesia does not have a soft power. And, relating to South Korea, which is like the most biggest prime and like the most like real example of this is South Korea. Like, they went from nothing, unknown, poor backyard country to a freaking economic powerhouse. I even read this part in an article, which is that South Korea went from a recipient for like an aid organization, I forgot which one, to be a donor in like 10 years ago or something. Like it's very, very not a long time ago. It's crazy. It's unbelievable how they went from there. And I think I feel like I feel sad. I feel really sad as an Indonesian seeing all these things. And I really hope that I can do something to it in the future. I guess help. I mean, there has to be really like a good, concrete way of seeing this problem. A more systematic approach to understanding like why was South Korea or Japan with their anime industry and manga and like any country, America, Hollywood, are able to produce such quantities of soft power. Like they're able to project these into the world stage. There are very, very small countries that I've known that is able to do this. Only 3 countries that I know that was able to do this. America, Japan, and South Korea. So, seeing this phenomenon, I feel like there is something that we should be doing as, I don't know, as a consumer, as people that, you know, might be able to contribute to it. And I feel like I really want to do it. I don't know why. Yeah, that's the end of this video. I don't know. I want to put our rant there to organize my thought. And yeah, I'll probably talk about this in the future more. I'm really just want to get into the habit of making a video. So, there you go. Thank you for listening to this. If anyone is listening, probably no one, but thank you. God bless you.